I mean, that is a ballsy hat to wear.
Why would you wear it then?
If it's free, it's for me.
That is, nope. Lou took his off. Why are we doing it? I should put one on. All right, guys, we got a lot of basketball to get to. We're going to start with a gentleman by the name of Steph Curry and his team, the Golden State Warriors. There he is, 31 points in 29 minutes, mind you. No Draymond, no Kuminga, no Horford for Golden State. Hield gets 20 points. It's been a very crazy year for the Warriors so far. Before this game, they've lost 3 straight, which is a little bit crazy. But they sit at 10-9 through the first 19 games. That's another part of the story. The fact that they played 19 games is a little bit weird. But, Lou, I will start with you. When you watch this Warriors team play, are they closer to a championship level team or a play-in level team?
I don't think they're either right now. You know, as it stands, I think they're a first round exit team. You know, you look at them right now. As it stands, they're an 8 seed, right? And if they were to stay in that position, they got to match up with OKC in the first round. I don't see them beating OKC as it stands. So I would say they're a first round team exit. But we also know Golden State's DNA, right? Like, this is a team that's very intentional about getting into playoffs, getting a guaranteed spot. And trying to do everything they can to qualify for that. So I don't think this is a team that stays in that 8th spot. I think they do everything they can to get in that top 6 to get in the guaranteed spot. But as it stands today, I'm looking at them as a first round exit. I don't think they can get past OKC with the way they're built and the way that OKC is playing. So I got them right there in the middle. I don't think they're a championship contending team. I also don't think they're a play-in team. I think they're going to be one of those teams that try to put themselves in the mix, you know, for a 6 seed or something guaranteed in that realm. But right now, I can't call neither one of those. As it stands, I would say they're a first-round exit team if that was their matchup if it started today.
If I had to pick one of those, Lou, I gotta go play. Like, you look at the Western Conference, I don't think they're as close to as good of a team as OKC. Same thing with Denver. Same thing with Houston. Like, those are championship expectation teams. I think the Warriors are dangerous. I think anytime you have Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler on the floor, you have enough to win basketball games. And the way they play, the way they move, and the way that Steph can just erupt like he's been doing this season, they're a dangerous out. But man, the Western Conference, we talked about all season long, they are so good. It's so deep. It's so top heavy with those teams that are actual contenders. This team might end up in the play-in, and then they still are going to have to play OKC, Denver, or Houston if they're in that 6, 7, or 8 seed. So I think they're ways away from a contending team. I do think they have some assets that they can possibly move and better their roster and maximize that win-now window with Steph, with Draymond, with Jimmy Butler. But if I had to pick one of those two, it's got to be closer to a play-in team than a contender in my eyes.
Yeah. But I just think that gray area is so crazy. Like, it's so much gray area between being a play-in team and being a championship contending team. Like, that's a lot of gray area. But if you feel like they're closer to a play-in, that's why I'm saying it's a gray area, because I can't agree with that. Like, we've watched them talk about, we got to get a 6 seed. We got to get one of those guaranteed spots. I don't think they're one of those teams that linger around, especially when you're still having success with no Draymond, no Kuminga, and no Al Horford. We know how old this team is. We know that they're on the latter side of their careers. But we've also talked about how competitive and the IQ that this basketball team has. So I can't put them in the play-in, especially with knowing that it's guys in and out of the lineup, and they're still trying to figure out who can be a consistent. Like, I look at Pods last night. He didn't have a great night, but I think he'll be more consistent moving forward. GP the second, he's playing good basketball for him. Buddy Hield is playing well off the bench. Now you put all of those pieces together, I feel like they're a middle of the pack team. I really can't put play-in on them, but I also don't see them as a contender for a championship either. So it's tough to really read at this point in the career.
Is it possible a play-in team wins a championship? Or will the other ways?
Well, I mean, anything can happen. You got injuries, freaky things can happen. Like,
that can't
it's
happen,
not impossible.
I don't know about that one.
It's not. How about this? It's not impossible. There is a slight chance. Might be a small chance, but a slight.
I'll ride with that one. I'll ride with that.
Just a slight chance. What's kind of crazy too is if you think about last year, they were sort of floating around as well. And then the Jimmy Butler trade happened, and it was just like an injection of new energy, and everything felt fresh and great. And I'm wondering, Chandler, if you can look at this team and sort of maybe see that happening again. And obviously, you mentioned the trade assets, and I know Kuminga's going to be front and foremost for that. Is that something we might be looking at? They might pull one of those again.
I think so. I think when you look at, I just feel like Kuminga's bound to get moved. It feels like it personality-wise. It feels like it fit-wise. It feels like it relationship-wise. He feels like the scapegoat. That is not someone that's comfortable. It's not someone that pictures themselves long-term in this organization, in the face of this organization. Again, I said this yesterday. We've heard pods talk about he wants the torch passed to him. Kuminga's got a much higher ceiling and has had a more productive start to his career. And you never heard him say anything close to that, being in Golden State, making that his team, taking over this franchise post-Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler era. So I think he obviously he's the obvious one to move. I'd love to see Klay Thompson kind of get somehow back here. He doesn't seem to be doing anything, and I don't know if that moves the needle for Golden State, but I would love him back there, and I do think
feel good story.
It would be feel good. Anthony Davis is a name you're hearing around. That would make sense of if he could be healthy, which again, it's a big if. That's a win now move that could kind of bump them from that play into more of a contender category. But I do think they're solid. They defend. Statistically, they're kind of just middle of the pack. They don't do anything elite. Just out of the top 10 defensive rating at 12. Offense, they need nights like Steph Curry had last night to be that much, that elite on that end. Because when you look outside, they don't really have that kind of scoring punch anywhere else outside of Jimmy Butler, who can kind of bully ball you off the block. It's still constant movement. And Kuminga's kind of their third best scorer, and he's getting DMPs, and he's not playing, and now he's hurt. So there's always going to be the big question mark around him. But I do see them making a big move, because I think Mike Dunleavy wants to maximize this Steph Curry window before he's gone.
Let's keep talking about Steph Curry and that window. In the last 5 games, last 5 of the 6, he scored at least 31, and in that there's a 46 and a 49er, which is crazy. We love bests and worsts in this, Lou. So, best scoring point guard of all time, will it be Steph Curry? Right now he's sitting third.
Yeah, listen, I think before we were having this conversation about Steph Curry, another person that was going to be brought up as one of the dynamic scoring guards is Allen Iverson. And even Allen Iverson has passed the torch to Steph Curry, and he's bowed out and said, Steph Curry has did worlds of amazing things that I've been able to do in my career when it comes to scoring at basketball. So absolutely yes. He's changed the game. He's changed the way the kids play the game. He changes the way that these kids view themselves, and he's still going out and doing it at 37 years old. He's, it's not even an argument to say he's the best shooter in NBA history, but when we talk about just scoring a basketball, he doesn't get the credit for his finishing ability. He doesn't get the credit for who he is in the mid-range. We know who he is on the three-point. Like, he's a 3-tier scorer that can do it on every single level, and as a guy that stands at 6'2", 6'3", he's going to be one of those guys. Like, a lot of these kids, when I'm in these AAU gyms, a lot of these kids see themselves in Steph Curry. They see that as a style of play that they can mimic, that they can mock and put in their games and still be successful. He's been able to do that over the course of his career, so he's definitely going to go down as one of the best scoring point guards that we've ever seen, if not one of the best scorers, period, at any position that we've ever seen. 100,000% for sure, that's going to be Steph Curry when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we kind of put him in box when we start talking about his shooting ability or point guard. He's one of the greatest basketball players of all time, regardless of position, regardless of his shooting ability. He is one of the greatest NBA players of all time. So, yeah, I think he's the best scoring PG. I think he's the best PG. I think he's the best shooter. I think he's the best conditioned NBA player of all time. I think the list goes on and on and on of what he would rank number one at. And like Lou said, he's not this man-child prodigy kid, like dude that you can't relate to. He is the baby-faced assassin that kids can see themselves in, that kids can condition themselves to play like and move like. And obviously it's going to take countless of hours to shoot the ball like he does, because no one's ever shot the ball like he does. But you can relate to Steph Curry, and you know what? His game is going to age really, really good, because a lot of these guys that based on athleticism, when they lose a step, they go downhill. The way Steph Curry shoots the ball, it's crazy to say. He can play until he's 45 years old if he wants to, and just stand in the corner, not allow people to help, and just knock down threes at a 45%. I don't see him slowing down anymore, even when he loses a step, because he can shoot the ball from wherever. So his age is
he could turn into a third